Hello, how are you doing today? Today we will be discussing how students are able to work and study in Canada. The big question is, can students work and study in Canada? And the answer is, it depends. Always, right? So it depends. I'm going to go ahead to tell you how students are able to work, if students are able to work, the kind of jobs students are able to do in Canada, and how much students earn. So stay tuned to the end of this video so that you can get all the details. And everything I'm telling you here is from experience. It's not just about, oh, Google it. You know, Google has all the answers, but Google cannot give you the answers gotten from experience, right? So right now, just before you're wondering, okay, who is this talking to me? My name is Dr. Linda Iheme, and I am currently a PhD student in Canada. Even before I started my PhD program, I also did my master's students, and throughout my master's students I was an international student. What does that mean? If you're watching my video right now and you are not currently in Canada, or you have to study in Canada as an international student, my experience will be similar to yours. Maybe not the same, but at least similar. Okay, so having said that, let's get started. The truth is, yes, students can work in Canada. Almost all students can work in Canada, provided the clause is provided you are working full-time. Provided you are studying full-time. I'm sure you are like, working full-time, that's cool. Provided you are studying full-time, you can work. And even if you are studying full-time, you get to work part-time, right? Because I mean, you can study full-time and work part-time. So students can work part-time provided they are studying full-time. That is the truth. And now somebody is saying, what do you mean by full-time? What do you mean by part-time? So full-time is called full-time if your school says it is full-time. So it is dependent on whatever the school calls it. So provided you register in your school as a full-time student, trust me, you qualify to work in Canada. And now when we say part-time, work part-time, what does it mean? Because maybe this is not familiar to you based on where you are coming from, but when we say part-time in Canada, we mean up to 20 hours a week. 20 hours is like, if you were to put it in the number of normal 8 hours of work, is 2.5 days a week. You can work 2.5 days a week while you study full-time. And then what that means is that if you are studying part-time in Canada, this is specific to Canada. If you are studying part-time, currently you are not allowed to work. But most students register for full-time. Most international students register for full-time, except maybe in your last semester you can register for part-time if you have just very little things to complete your study. So you don't even need to worry, oh, which one is full-time, which one is part-time. The most important thing is that as an international student in Canada, you can work. Obviously, if you're a local student, you can work, right? That goes without saying. Okay, so do you need a work permit? The answer is no. Do you need a work permit? No. Now, there was a student that came to me one time and she said this agent has promised to help her get study permit, and they have also promised to help her get work permit. And I laughed. You know why I laughed? I laughed because I was like, hey, girl, your study permit comes with work authorization. So you don't apply afresh saying, I want work permit. Except people that are doing the kind of program they call co-op program. If you're not doing this type of program, you don't need to worry. They even make sure that they apply for extra work permit, which is given to them because their school says they have to get work permits, right? But a normal student studying in Canada, you don't need extra work permit to work. Your study permit, it is written on your study permit that you can work. So once you get your study permit from Canada, you will know that you can work. So now it's like things are building up on themselves, right? Because somebody once asked me, but wait, you mean study permit and visa, are they the same thing? The truth is, when you get the real thing that you apply for is study visa. Once you get study visa, like in my time, upon arrival at the airport, they'll just show you where you have to go and get your study permit. So it's not really something you do any special application for. So the only thing you do special application for is your study visa, and then you are given study permit, and that study permit comes with work permit. So congratulations if you already got an admission, or if you've already gotten your visa. You already know that, man, life is good, right? So now, what kind of work can students do in Canada? Before I go ahead to answer that question, I'm going to give you my own experience. What kind of work was I able to do as a student by the time I arrived in Canada? The first one is the work that, as a graduate student, for many graduate students, this work is given to you by your department, where you serve as a teaching assistant. Right, as a teaching assistant to a professor. So the question is, as a teaching assistant, what do? You set exams, or you mark exams, you grade students' paper, you talk with students, you explain course content, you hold office hours. So it's like normal work, right? It's like saying you become a mini professor. A mini professor. If you're a graduate student, you can serve as a mini professor. Also, some other students work as a graduate research assistants. So your professor is like usually the big assistant, or a professor in that university is a big researcher, right? So now you will work with the professor. So as you work with the professor, you are called a research assistant. So this is another job you can do. Now, and all these jobs I'm mentioning right now, I have done all of them. So I've served as teaching assistant, I've served as research assistant. Another thing I've served as is as a proctor. Proctor, when they mean proctor, they mean like an invigilator, right? So you can invigilate exams and they pay you for it. And these jobs, they pay you good amount of money, especially if you are working inside school, right? So like I would say, for example, working as a research assistant during my master's, my payment was $32 an hour. $32 an hour is, okay, how you understand it is what they pay normal people minimum, or what they call minimum wage here in my city is $14 an hour. So as a research assistant, you are getting $32 an hour. That is more than ×2 of what a normal person is getting under minimum wage. So that means it is well paid, right? So these are not like just menial jobs. You're actually like you're a mini professor in a university. So that is cool, trust me. Okay, so another thing I've worked as is as a library assistant, where I work in a library, like collect books from students who return them, shelf books, book study room for students. It's almost like a customer service person in a library, put it that way. Okay, so I've worked as a library assistant. Then I've also worked as a peer mentor. So you can work, like I worked with my student success office, where we mentor students for different things. And here, a lot of things you can do as volunteer, but a lot of things you also get paid for doing them. So you don't even have to worry yourself. So another thing, now, many of these jobs I've mentioned to you, or all the jobs I've mentioned so far, they were jobs I did inside my university. But also, what about outside my university? Yes, I've been able to do, and the one prominent one is as a customer service agent in a company, right? So you pick calls from customers and you help them get whatever they want to get. Now, this is my experience. There have been other students that have done all other kinds of job, but the good, the bad, the ugly, the excellent, the wonderful. Oh, there are different types of jobs, right? Depending on what you like. Some people, like I've seen some people, especially like IT related jobs. There are so many in my city. So many. So many people, IT related jobs. They're able to get IT related jobs, and they're able to do wonderfully well. And some other people are able to work online. Like you can work with a company and you're working online, even though you're still studying, and they pay very well. So these are all kinds of jobs. And now let me not leave out one interesting type of job that people also do. Some people come here and they're able to work in a restaurant, right? Like they serve food, to customers and all those kind of stuff. So those are also different kinds of job that you can do, right? So there are a variety of them. But now I just want you to know that in total we have you can work on campus. that's inside your school, or you can work off campus in Canada, right? So what that means is that people are not really struggling for the the number of jobs that you have on campus. People are not really struggling for it, because you can either work on campus, or you can work off campus, or you can work online. So it's really very, very flexible, and you can always combine this with your study. Is it stressful? Yes. Let me not blend the talk. Is it stressful? Yes, because remember, at one point, you are just a student, right? You're just a student and you are studying. But if you have to combine school and work, it can be stressful. But is it doable? Take a look at me. So, take a look at me right now. Do I look stressed out? do I look stressed out? Okay, so let me put it this way. If you are doing all those kind of work, you look like me. So you use your mind to judge whether it is worth doing or not, right? So these are the jobs I did even the time I was still an international student. Of course, now I'm no longer an international student because I have my permanent residency in Canada. But as an international student, I was able to do all these type of jobs. And what I even noticed was that this is for international students, because for local students, they were even able to do even much more jobs. Like, I had people that were even, because if you're a local student, you can work whether you're studying part-time or full-time. So people are able to do all kinds of jobs, like full-time job while doing schools part-time. But please note, international students are not allowed to do full-time work and then work part-time, right? They're not allowed to do that on the average. So, except your case is very, very, very different, and this is a special arrangement between you and your school, or with Canadian Embassy. But this is what is obtainable on the general. This is what is obtainable on the general outlook, or on the general grant for a graduate student. So, do you know why the kind of jobs I mentioned are the kind of jobs international students are able to get? Or are you wondering, why is that so? That's because many of these jobs, they allow you to work part-time, right? So there are very awesome jobs in Canada, but many times international students don't do those kind of jobs right away when they arrive, because those jobs, a lot of time, they want you to work full-time. And as an international student, you can't work full-time because you are studying full-time, right? So most times you cannot get what we call salary job. Like, let me give you an example. A job where, let me say, you're an IT manager in a company and they are paying you full-time salary job. You won't get those type of jobs. Not because if you apply, you won't get it, but because of the restriction that you have to work part-time. And those kind of jobs, a lot of time, they require full-time presence. So because of that, international students tend not to apply for those kind of jobs. So it's not because those jobs does not exist. Do you get the point? So don't be misled. Now, the sweetest thing is that immediately you graduate in Canada, you get your post-graduation work permit. What happens? All these awesome other jobs that are full-time jobs, then you can apply for them, get them, and do your work, and be able to eventually get your permanent residency. Of course, you know that is the pathway, right? So you can work off campus, on campus, different kinds of job depending on your preference. And it is not hard to get job. It is not hard. It is not hard. Like, I had students that arrived here 9 days after they arrived, they already have job, right? 9 days after they arrived. So if you think about it, so this is not something you come, you start looking for job for one year. No. It's not that type. So even if you're not as fast as these students, you can even be faster, right? Even if you're not as fast as these students, you still have the opportunity to, maybe in a month, in 2 months, you're able to get your job. So you have to take note of this. So, and now, one other thing, I was also explaining to you that the salary pays well. Now, let me explain to you. As a graduate student working in my school, right? As a teaching assistant, I was earning more than I was earning as a dentist in my home country. I was earning more than I was earning as a dentist. Of course, you know I'm a dentist, right? You know I'm a dentist. So, and you know that dentists still make a good sum of money from whatever country they are in, especially when you compare it to what is obtainable in that country. But the point is that as a student as an international student working part-time in Canada, I was earning more than a dentist. I was more than I was earning as a dentist in my home country. What that means is that you have the opportunity to earn something that can help you sort your bills. Now, let me put a caveat there. You have to just understand that for the sake of international students coming, please note this so that you won't quote me wrongly. For the sake of international students coming, you can't say, I want to come. When I get here, I'll make money to apply for, to pay my school fees or something, because the embassy will need you to show that money before you even come, right? The money for like your school fees and living expenses, which you can show through scholarship, or if you have somebody that is sponsoring you, you can get sponsorship letter from that person. So there are many ways for you to show proof of funds. But my point is, you can't say, I have no money, there's no way for me to take care of myself. When I get to Canada, I'll work. But once you are here, you're able to work and even send money home to people you left at home, if that is something that is applicable to you. Okay, so just know that you earn enough. Everybody's earning is not going to be the same, but at least you earn enough to make a difference. Okay, so I just want you to know that this doesn't only happen in Canada. This doesn't only happen in Canada, because it happens in a lot of other countries, especially high-income countries. So if you go to high-income countries to study as a student, often you're able to work. There may be differences, right? Like some countries may not allow you to work off campus while you're a student. Some countries may allow you to work off campus while you're a student. But the most important thing is that this is very similar. So if you're going to another country abroad and that is not Canada, all you just have to do is to research. Use Google to research if students can work in that country and what is applicable to them. But what I'm telling you is for sure what is obtainable in Canada. Okay. Somebody said, what kind of part-time jobs are you able to apply in your school or off campus? I already addressed that. So what I'll say is, at the end of this Facebook Live, I'm going to post the video so you can rewatch it in case you missed the early part. Okay, now I just also want you to know that just like I said, your work authorization is written on your study permit. So don't let anybody deceive you that will help you apply for work permit, will help you apply for study permit, so that you'll be thinking that they're going to do a lot of things for you. So once you get your study visa, get your study permit, you can work. Provided you're a full-time student, you can work. Isn't that awesome? So I'm going to leave you here today, okay? And go, and I will see you again. And I also included a video on this post. Check it out. Check it out. We'll have something wonderful. I'm not going to leak the secret. Make sure you check this post to see the link that I put there, and check it out. Trust me, you're going to enjoy what you're going to see. Whoa!